For several years, Vermont has led the fight for better smoke detectors. Now, firefighters from the Green Mountains are working with first responders around the world to promote photoelectric smoke detectors. Now, in Barre, just before Christmas of 2005, a mother and 4 children died in a fire. 30-year-old Kimberly Stoltz-Foster, 12-year-old Tory Stoltz, 9-year-old Brett Stoltz, 8-year-old Christa Foster, and 6-year-old Mikayla Foster were killed in that fire. Only the father was able to escape out a window. The fire had smoldered for hours, but the family's ionization smoke detectors were not going off when crews arrived. After the deadly blaze, Barre firefighters led the charge to promote photoelectric smoke alarms, resulting in a Vermont law passed in 2008 requiring them in new homes. Captain Matt Seaton was one of those on the scene that terrible morning in Barre. He joins us now along with Adrian Butler of the World Fire Safety Foundation. He works from Australia to promote photoelectric alarms internationally. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Matt, we were talking a little bit beforehand about smoke detectors, and people think that smoke detectors are smoke detectors, but there are significant differences between ionization detectors and photoelectric. What are those differences?
Basically, it's the technology that is used to detect smoke. One is uses different technology, a photocell sensor, to determine smoke and find smoke. And the other one uses an ionization technology that determines when there's smoke present. And basically, that's what the main differences are between the two. So one is designed for a fast flaming fire and one's designed for smoldering fires.
So the ionization is designed to best detect fast fires.
It is, absolutely.
Fires.
It's designed to detect fast flaming fires, but it also has a lot of problems with nuisance alarms and reacts very quickly to, people say, oh, I was cooking my food and my smoke detector went off. This is a huge problem across our state, and one that the state of Vermont has said that's why we've gone with photoelectric smoke detectors and only photoelectric smoke detectors. You can't have combination ionization photoelectrics in the state.
And you have to tell me that if you have to be very careful when you're at the stores or when you're at home checking your detectors to make sure that you have the correct one.
Absolutely. You're looking for it to say either photoelectric or it has a P on it. If you find that it says ionization or has an I on it, that would be the wrong technology. And you'd want to get to the store to change that smoke detector.
And Adrian, how did your group become involved with Matt and the firefighters of Barre as far as this awareness program goes?
I used to run a company back in the late 90s selling ionization alarms. We'd sold tens of thousands of them, and then we started noticing a big problem where people would have them activate, as Matt was saying, when they cooked the toast, but then in a real wood fire they weren't going off at all. So we discovered a program on Canadian TV that was aired in January 2000 called Silent Alarms that exposed the problem there was a big court case, and the world's largest manufacturer was sued, punitive damages of $16.3 million. So we knew at that point that there was a serious problem. I'm an ex-firefighter, so we started campaigning it, and we knew that within a couple of years it would be cleared up because it was cut and dry. You know, these things, the ionization...
One works.
The ionization...
Way to go.
They're really defective in the early smouldering stage of a fire. And after 6.5 years, we finally got this out in Australia on national TV, but then the whole thing got buried. And we actually gave up, and that's it. And then 2 weeks later, which was 6 months after the fire with Kimberly Stoltz and Foster, Matt and Russell Ash, who was working with Matt at the Barre City Fire Department, they contacted us. And because we developed what we called an aquarium test, where we had this aquarium and you put a smoke alarm in it and a soldering iron and a sponge, and the ionization alarm doesn't go off at all. The smoke is so thick you can't even see it.
Right, but the alarm's not going
off.
Yeah,
so Russell Ash contacts me, and I said to Russell, well, what you need to do, mate, is you need to get an aquarium and just replicate this test. And I knew there was no way he was going to do it because no one would do, and I said you need to have the fire engines in the background and the fire doors open and all this stuff, like the dream thing for us. And I knew he wouldn't do it. Well, a week later he rang me and said, well, we've now got the video on YouTube. And I thought, you're kidding. And then we got back into the campaign because now we had a fire department in America telling the story.
Right.
And what Matt and Russ have done is actually set global precedents, because they're the first people in America to do this test, and as a result of that, Vermont has the best legislation anywhere in the world.
Right, Matt, quickly talk about that legislation. It puts these photoelectrics, requires them in new homes, but is that enough? Because there are a lot of older homes in this state.
Well, any apartment in the state of Vermont is required to have photoelectric technology when it's changed. Smoke detectors have to be changed every 10 years. There's they get old, so they have to be changed. The photoelectrics have to go into any rental units. And then any new home that is sold or bought in the state of Vermont, you have to have a photoelectric at time of sale. So that was, an amazing legislation that is getting these photoelectrics into homes across the country, across Vermont, and then across the country. We hope that there's structure fires that would have happened in homes that we're not seeing. We'll never know how many homes this saves, because people are finding smoldering fires earlier. They're putting those fires out at home without calling the fire department for a major structure fire.
So continuing to get the word out, both locally and globally. Matt, Adrian, both thank you very much for joining us. And we have a link to more from the World Fire Safety Foundation on the info center at WCAX.com. Gentlemen, thank you very much.